Hello everyone and welcome. In this video, we'll be learning about the prototype design pattern. We can use this pattern when we have a use case where we want to clone or create a copy of an object. One point to note here is when I'm talking about creating a copy, then we want to do a deep copy and not shallow copy. If you don't already know what is deep copy, what is shallow copy, how they differ, or you would like to learn more about it, then you can watch my video where I discuss the same in very detail with examples. If you like the video, please do like and subscribe. Alright, so coming back. We know that if we want to create a deep copy of an object, we can't use the assignment operator or the clonable interface provided by default. We need to manually create a new object and then go through all the fields of the original object and copy their values over to the new object. Let's see how this looks like in the code. Let's take the similar setup as we had in our shallow copy versus deep copy video. Again, I am linking my video on deep copy and shallow copy on the screen. I highly recommend you to please go and watch it first if you haven't watched it yet. But if you're clear what is deep and shallow copy, then you'll be good and you can continue with this video. So, here we have a book class and a chapter class. Our chapter class has two fields, chapter number and chapter name. And our book class has an ID field, name and a list of chapters. Also, we have set up the constructor in both the classes to provide initial values of all the fields. Also, we have a getDetails method which returns value of all the fields in a formatted string. Now, here in our application, we have a book object B. Let's go ahead and print the details of this object first. Let's first print the reference of the object. Then, let's print the details of the book object. And then, let's print the reference of the chapters of the book object. If we want to create a deep copy of this object, we need to do it manually. So let's create a new method and create a copy manually. Now, let's call this method in our main method to create the clone. Let's print the details for the clone object as well. This approach works, but it has a few limitations. Firstly, private properties are not accessible to the outer world. And if there are no getter, setters methods available, then it becomes a problem trying to read them or set them from outside. In the traditional approach, you need to copy each and every field manually. So you need to be aware of the class fields and structure. This creates a hard dependency of your code on the class structure. Lastly, to create a scalable and generic architecture, interfaces are used widely in software development. So sometimes you only know the interface that the object follows, but not its concrete class. This further increases the complexity in creating copies of the object with this traditional approach. Let's see how the prototype pattern helps us to solve these problems. With the prototype pattern, we delegate the task of cloning to the object itself that is to be cloned. So you can ask the object to create a clone and it itself creates a copy and gives it to you. Let's see how we can implement this in the code. With the prototype pattern, we start by declaring a common interface which will be implemented by all the classes that support cloning. Now, what this interface does is it helps us to decouple our application code from the object's class. Usually, such an interface contains just a single clone method. This method does not accept any parameters and returns a prototype instance. Now, let's make our chapter class and book class implement this interface. Let's first implement this method in our chapter class. The implementation of the createClone method is very similar in all classes. This method needs to create a new object of the current class and carry over all the field values of the old object into the new one. So we can return a new chapter instance and use the values of the fields of the current object for the clone object. Now let's do the similar thing in our book class. We'll need to create a new chapters list for our clone book object. This we can easily do using the string and then map. Alright, now that we have everything set up, let's update our application class to use the prototype interface. So now we can use the createClone method on our book object B to create a copy. Let's quickly run the code now. Alright, everything seems to be working correctly. One important thing to note here is that since we are doing the actual cloning within the class, we can even copy private fields because most programming languages lets object access private fields of other objects that belong to the same class. And this approach of using a common interface helps us avoid other problems of the traditional deep cloning approach. With this, we have completed our discussion of the prototype pattern. If you found this video useful, please do like and subscribe. Thank you for watching.